Hey everybody, it's PDubs. Thanks as always for hanging out upstairs with us and for checking out the channel. And on today's episode, I wanted to catch up regarding the Arcade1Up Midway Legacy Mortal Kombat 30th Anniversary Edition arcade cabinet that was just recently announced by Arcade1Up at CES 2022. This particular arcade cabinet is a definite improvement overall versus the Midway Legacy cabinet that was just released last year. The things that I like the most about this cabinet versus the Midway Legacy, as you guys can see when we go side by side, is take a look here. In Midway Legacy, Arcade1Up tried to go with a more traditional arcade shape per fan feedback, and when they did that, they made the side panels just too big, just too darn big, which caused wings. They also had the monitor mounted way too vertically, and with the wings, the vertical mounted monitor, and the marquee pushed all the way back, there were some definite line of sight issues for myself and others. Anyone over 5'9" definitely had difficulty seeing the monitor, standing up, and trying to play this arcade machine. Not to mention ledge gate, let's not forget that. Having the control deck kind of sunken in and having your hands hitting these ledges on these narrow 19.5 to 20 inch wide arcade machines, right? And now they come out with this, and guys, take a look. When you go back and forth, take a look. Huge improvements on the side panel shapes from Arcade1Up. They listened to fan feedback. We said, hey, if they make these side panels skinnier versus what they had on the Midway Legacy cabinet, if they make them skinnier, they'll be able to tilt the monitor back further, and with that monitor tilted back further, they'd be able to get the marquee flush against the cabinet. And now you have something that more closely resembles the original shape of the Midway Legacy Mortal Kombat cabinet, right? Everything else looks great. You even got a little bit of slant on the control deck here. This slant actually looks pretty cool. Doesn't look as big of a slant as what we have on the Big Blue, but again, this is just a render. And of course, you have the molded coin door, etc. on here. If you ask me, from a design point of view, these are huge, small improvements, but big improvements overall. They got rid of the wings. They got rid of the fat side panels. They're going with skinnier side panels. You got the slanted monitor. You got the light up marquee. And then, of course, you're going to have the original Mortal Kombat artwork on here. Mortal Kombat 1, except for one big change. Take a look at that control panel. That looks sweet. That brings back memories. Obviously, we have some new things. We have the live button because this has online play, etc. And then, of course, here's the big kicker, right? Is that on our side panel artwork for the original Mortal Kombat cabinet, we are missing Daniel Pesina, aka Johnny Cage, from the artwork. Now, obviously, he's missing due to some form of licensing issue or something of that nature. And, you know, there's all kinds of stuff out there. There's articles about it, all stuff. You know what? Is that going to prevent you from picking up this cabinet, though? That's what I want to know. If just because he's missing from the side panel, is that enough of a reason to say no? Well, for me personally, guys, it's not enough of a reason to say no. I think the side panel looks fine even without him. You know, Mortal Kombat enthusiasts are going to absolutely hate that he's not on there. I love Mortal Kombat, probably my favorite fighting game series of all time. And even though I love it, and it's my favorite fighting game series of all time from an arcade point of view, it's not enough for me to be like, oh my god, I'm not going to buy an upgraded cabinet. It's just not enough for me to use that as my sole reason to make that decision. But if it is for you, I respect your opinion. But taking a look here at this particular arcade cabinet, we definitely are going to have online play. And that is huge, guys. The online play is going to be a lot of fun on this cabinet. Now, the original Midway Legacy cabinet did retail for $450, right? I'm sorry, $399. It was $400, and then prices jumped up a little bit last year. So on average, this cabinet without a stool is $450 at most retailers if you don't find it on sale. $450. Now, what is this Arcade1Up 30th anniversary Mortal Kombat cabinet going to cost? Well, when we take a look at this thing is definitely going to have a better chipset in it, as well as it's going to support the Android operating system and the Wi-Fi and the online play. This obviously will have the Wi-Fi antenna, etc. Some additional improved tech inside, obviously with chip shortages, rises in chip costs, things like that. This thing is going to be a bit more powerful than the Midway Legacy cabinet and other versions, and obviously optimized to play in an online experience. So the cost of this thing is going to be higher, especially with the inflation, the fact that we're expecting Arcade1Up to continue to raise their prices. So what is this thing going to come in at, especially if they come out with a Pro Series in the future priced around $1,000? Well, in my opinion is I think this thing's going to come in around I think this thing's going to come in around somewhere between $500 and $600. Is it going to be $450? No. $499, a $50 jump over last year. That would be ideal, as you guys know, for a cabinet like this that doesn't come with a stool, that's just a cabinet on a riser. My preferred price for something like this is $500 or less. However, I have a feeling this thing is going to be somewhere between $500 and $600. So I think this thing could end up being, we're going to go from like $450 to either $550 or maybe $599. So we're going to see a jump here in pricing. Do I anticipate this particular cabinet being, over $600? No. And if it is, they're out of their minds if this thing is going to be over $600. But if this thing is less than $600, it does make sense when we just think about the pricing of these cabinets and what we've seen in the past and how the price increases have played in over the years. And is that enough for you to say yes or no? I mean, me, the number one reason to buy this cabinet is online play. If you're interested in the online play. If you're not interested in the online play, go get the Legacy cabinet, go get one of the Generation 2 cabinets, go get a Costco cabinet, or play these games on other devices. That's pretty much the way to look at it. If you're not interested in online play, I don't really see a big reason to pick up this cabinet yet. Even though we're getting 14 games. Now, what's interesting about the 14 games is they've added Mortal Kombat 3. So all the previous versions of this cabinet had Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Well, now we got Mortal Kombat 3 was added, as well as Clax. So we're going from 12 games to 14 games. But honestly, they could have kept this thing at 12 games. They could have added Mortal Kombat 3. They could have added Clax and just got rid of Paperboy and got rid of Defender, because those games do not play well on these controls. So why add those again to this particular cabinet? Well, I guess because it's supposed to be a Midway Legacy and they want to have everything on there, Rampage, Joust, all that stuff. But honestly, they probably could have kept it at 12 games and taken Paperboy and Defender off and added Clax and MK3. But once again, guys, the more games they put on there, the higher they can say the price is as well. We know what you're doing, Arcade1Up. Overall, me personally, knowing that there is potential that they'll release a Pro Series, but a Pro Series of Mortal Kombat hasn't even been announced. We don't know the pricing on any of the Pro Series. We assume they're all going to be $1,000 to $1,200. And also, not knowing even when that thing is going to be available and in our hands, it does appear that this Midway Legacy cabinet will be available and in our hands sooner than later versus a Pro Series cabinet. So I would consider, if they get this thing $499, I mean, the prior year it was $450. If they can get this thing $499, I'd be all in and upgrading right away. If it's over $499, but less than $600, I'm probably not going to complain about the pricing, but hopefully wait for a sale. A lot of times these retailers knock $50, $100 off, and we can get them for those pricing. Overall, I think that this cabinet is a good move by Arcade1Up. Definite huge improvements to the shape of the cabinet, and also bringing in online play, which we've been asking for over a year from Arcade1Up. We've been asking for a Mortal Kombat online cabinet, and they're giving it to us. So now it's time to get in those lobbies. Put up or shut up, right? Let me know what you guys think about this cabinet. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up on the way out. And as always, my dudes, thank you for subscribing.